Hello, and welcome to the West Midlands Regional Cybercrime Unit YouTube channel. For the next few weeks, we will be covering Cyber Essentials, its key controls, and how to implement them. Cyber Essentials is a government-backed scheme that helps organizations of any size protect themselves against the most common cyber attacks. This week, we will be covering the first Cyber Essentials key control, Firewall Configuration. This is part 2 of Firewall Configuration's controls, so be sure to pause this video and watch part 1, which can be found on our YouTube channel. Here is a brief recap of what was covered in the previous video. What is a firewall? In computing, a firewall is a network security system that monitors and controls incoming and outgoing network traffic based on predetermined security rules. Why is it important? Firewalls provide protection against outside cyber attackers by shielding your computer or network from malicious or unnecessary network traffic. For more information regarding firewalls, visit our previous YouTube video and the NCSC or Cyber Essentials websites. Rules in firewalls. Firewall rules allow for you to determine what traffic your firewall allows and what is blocked. Here are some practical examples of firewall rules. To allow SSH traffic, allow HTTP traffic, to have multiple web and database servers set up, also allow Bastion host setup. Cyber Essentials requirements under Technical Control, Part 1. Here is a list of routine inspections and requirements for any business that must be carried out in order to be eligible for the Cyber Essentials certification. First, applicants must change any default administrative passwords to an alternative that is difficult to guess or disable remote administrative access entirely. An applicant must prevent access to the administrative interface from the internet unless there is a clear and documented business need and the interface is protected by one of the following controls: a multi-factor authentication, such as a one-time token, or an IP whitelist that limits access to a small range of trusted addresses. The applicant must block unauthenticated inbound connections by default. Cyber Essentials requirements under Technical Control continued. The applicant must ensure inbound firewall rules are approved and documented by an authorized individual. The business need must be included in the documentation. Also, the applicant must remove or disable permissive firewall rules quickly when they are no longer needed. Finally, the applicant must use a host-based firewall on devices which are used on untrusted networks, such as public Wi-Fi hotspots. We will now show a demonstration of how to set up and configure a firewall rule. It's important to remember we will be using Windows 10 to show this, and other operating systems' methodology for a firewall rule implementation may vary. So, following on from last video's tutorial of turning the firewall off and on, this week we will be adding a simple rule to the firewall as an example of how firewall configuration can be used for your personal devices and business devices. The rule we will be adding is to disable the application of Internet Explorer on any type of network connection, whether that is public, private, or a domain connection. In practice, this rule is not very useful, but for the sake of our tutorial, it demonstrates firewall configuration well. Firstly, we will go to the Stop button in the bottom left of the screen and select the Control Panel app. From here, we will select Systems and Security, and then we will select Check Firewall Status. For the purpose of this demo, we will use the Advanced Settings method to set our rules. We select Advanced Settings. Once this is open, we navigate to Inbound Rules. If we select Inbound Rules, we can see the list of predetermined rules already selected. Right-click Inbound Rules and select New Rule. Make sure that Program is selected. We can use ports for this, but for this example, we will use a program. Click Next. Then we need to select the program path and find the application we want to prevent, which is Internet Explorer. In this case, select iExplore and then select Next. For our example, we want to block the connection. We make sure this is selected and we then select Next. For the purpose of this demo, we will keep all of these options selected, meaning under whatever network connection the app Internet Explorer is blocked. Select Next and then pick a name for the rule we have just created. In this case, we will call this rule Internet Explorer blocker. We then select Finish, and the rule we have just created will appear in the Inbound Rules section of the tab. Now we do the same for Outbound Rules. If we right-click on Outbound Rules and select New Rule, make sure that program is selected and click Next. Select the path for the desired application and click Next. Make sure that Block the Connection is selected, click Next. With all three of these options selected, we then click Next. Then we name our rule Internet Explorer Blocker. Then we click Finish, and our rule will appear in the Outbound Rules section. Now, to demonstrate that our rules are in place and working, if we navigate to the Internet Explorer application, if we open this application, we can see that we get this error message: cannot reach this page. This is due to the rules that we've just put in place. To once again reassure that the firewall is being used, we will disable both the rules we have just created. If you right-click on the inbound rule Internet Explorer Blocker, and then select Disable, and then do the same for the outbound rule we just created. If we navigate back to the Internet Explorer app, we should now be able to see the Internet application running as normal. So now we have seen how to create a rule, how this rule can be disabled, and also how to delete a rule, which is being shown on screen currently. All of these things are an important part of the Cyber Essential controls. The information in this video is in line with the current NCSC and Cyber Essentials guidance at the time of recording. For the latest information on firewalls and Cyber Essentials, please check their respective websites.